Only organic matter, water, and air, they thought, were necessary for spontaneous generation. That's all, matter, water, and air. And this was one of the examples which was printed in one of the old textbooks. And you can see here you have mice in here and so on, and you end up with mice from nothing. What you have in here is wheat, and a dirty shirt, and water, and we end up with mice. Well, we know where the mice got there. They were laid. The eggs were, in this case, the baby mice were laid in the area here. And probably the adult mice lived in there, and that's a good place to live, warm, and they can survive in there. And they had the baby mice. And here's another example. You have whatever that is, and lo and behold, maggots generate. This is from an old book, old textbook. So it took a creationist to overthrow all this. Okay, Darwin speculated life could have originated in some warm little pond on the ancient Earth, and this idea now is widely talked about in textbooks. Even books for the public, general science books, talk about this. And Stanley Lloyd Miller came along, and he was a graduate student, and his boss actually was Urey, who was a Nobel laureate. And Stanley Miller was just a student at the University of Chicago, and he took one of these spark generators, which the museum here has now, because I sent it to him, so they have it, and then he was able to produce what he thought was life. Actually, all he produced in this sealed glass apparatus, and he had the gases that they felt were necessary to generate life: methane, ammonia, and hydrogen. By the way, all these are highly toxic. So when they talk about generation of life from these gases, ammonia, we don't need to talk about that. If you're a farmer, you probably are concerned about spreading ammonia on the field. If you get too much of a whiff of it, you die. In fact, ammonia is ironically safe because it's so dangerous, it'll knock you out before it kills you. Have you ever taken a whiff of, anybody taken a whiff of ammonia? Oh, yeah. I mean, it just, it'll knock you down. And therefore, it's generally not dangerous because it's so dangerous, it's not dangerous. That's an interesting contradiction. And methane, obviously, is dangerous. And methane is natural gas. In your house, if you get a gas leak, you have methane leak. And methane is odorless and colorless, so therefore they have to put chemicals in there so you can smell the gas leak and fix it before you die. And then hydrogen, of course, is highly problematic as well, although hydrogen in pure form is not normally what we're exposed to. And then you have a heating coil, 60,000 millivolt tungsten spark generator device, and that's to simulate lightning. And then you have a water-cooled condenser, so it condenses it. I'll just show you the picture. And here's the condenser here, and then it condenses. This is all gas, and then it condenses. The gas condenses, and then they evaluated the gas, condensates, and what they found. They found a few common amino acids. But the problem is that amino acids are the building blocks of life. True, but you have to put them together. My best example is, I'm going to write Shakespeare. An A here, an R here, an M here, a Y here. Hey, I'm getting there. Just give me patience, give me time. I'm going to get to Shakespeare, and I will be as creative as he was. You're saying, wait a minute. First of all, you got to get words. And then you got to get the words put together so it makes sense. And yeah, I can get words usually, but beyond that, I'm no Shakespearean poet. So you can get the words. Beyond that, it takes a Shakespeare to write Shakespeare. The letters are useless. And the key is to make words, and of course, and sentences. You make sentences, and that produces a book. But lots of sentences. The same thing is true with life. And Miller's breakthrough was, okay, he got a bunch of amino acids, a few actually, and yet this became headlines throughout the world. This was a major breakthrough, and it's really, really important. And it's still in the textbooks. You still see this diagram here. In fact, that's where I got this diagram. You still see this diagram in the textbooks. In fact, when I went to my grandson's house a few weeks ago, I looked in his biology book, and guess what I found? Right there it was. So I asked him what his teacher said about this. Well, this proves that life can evolve from non-life. Is that what your teacher taught you? Yep. And this is the first step. Because now you get amino acids. All you have to do is assemble them, and you have life. So this proves life can spontaneously generate. And I asked my grandson, what about putting all the amino acids together? Well, that's simple. They just go together, and we have life. And I'm appalled at what he's teaching, what they're teaching him. And it was widely heralded as proving life could have originated on the early Earth under natural conditions without any intelligence. And actually it proves the opposite. Okay? That's why creationists love this case, because this proves what we're trying to say.